understanding what you can control. Because if you think somebody else is going to make you successful because they're going to do something or something outside of your own choices can be the key to your success, you're not going to get where you want to get. So the first thing we have to do is look in the mirror and say, if it is to be, it's up to me. Now, we say that we have teams and we work together, but the things you control are the things you control. Because let's say you recruit me and I don't do anything I say I'm going to do. You can't control whether what I say and what I do line up. So you have to decide, well, okay, maybe I need to have 10 people on my team rather than one person on my team. So that if 6 out of the 10 people don't do what they say they're going to do and 4 do, I'm going to meet my goals. So those are called ratios. Those are things you can control and things that you need to know and understand in order to move ahead. If you're waiting for the 6 people that say they're going to do something, they never do something, you're going to be stuck in the same place. So that's what we're talking about today. All right, if you want to be better, if you want better results, develop a system of habits. Talked about that last week, talk about that all the time. But this week, know what you control. Your schedule, the number of hours you commit to achieve your outcome, the number of presentations or activities you needed to achieve your outcome, and your attitude. You control that. You control your schedule. Now, if you have a job and you have certain hours you can work, the hours that are outside of that job, you control. So the presentations you do in the hours outside of that job, you control. Now, there's skill sets and there's lots of ratios we're going to talk about today, so that it's not just what you're supposed to do, but how do you improve what your present state right now? How do you take it to the next level? All right, and I love this quote: "No one can rise before dawn 360 days a year. No one who does that fails to make his family rich," because that's a principle, that's a system, that's a habit. Now, if you rise 10 and then you don't rise the next 20, and then you rise 3 days the next month and not the next 10, and it's inconsistent, that's not a habit. Okay, so that's another thing we're going to talk about: consistent habits. I would rather work with somebody that does 2 presentations a day than somebody who does 10 on Saturday and none the rest of the week. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum is sustained by consistency. All right. So how do you control the hours? First of all, this is going to be on Shield Nation tomorrow, the PDA. You probably have it, you definitely have it in the book, but do you use it, understand it? And right now, this year, 2024, I want you to go in there and look at your week, fill in. On Sunday, I wake up at this time, I do this, then I go to church, then I go, what do you do all day Sunday? What are your pockets? Can you do anything on those days? Maybe study something or work on your list or those kind of things. Monday, what time do you go to work? Do you go to work? If not, what time do you go to work out? Fill all those spots in. Okay, so you see what's left. What is left? What are the open spots of your week? So that you can say, what am I doing in that time? And if you block that time off, let's say Monday from 9 to 1, you have an open spot. And then Tuesday from 3 to 6, you have an open spot. So you square those out. Then the next thing is, what am I going to do in those open spots? Like as if I hired you for a job, I expect you to be at the job on a Monday at 9 a.m. And at 9 a.m., I want you to do these skills, these activities, in order to get paid $100,000 a year. Let's say that's what you want to make. So these are the things you need to do at that time every Monday for these many hours. And this is the expectation at the end of that time that I will expect from you. This is you employing yourself. This is you talking to you. So plan your week, look at your gaps, fill in those, look at, first of all, where's the openings? What does your open week look like when you've taken out every other commitment? If you're full-time, that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. If you're full-time, then you're looking at your week and saying, okay, what activities am I doing? You might fill in when you do a call like this. So this would be Monday at your 9 o'clock Eastern time. If it's, you fill in Shield Nation call. So that would be a box. That would be a fill-in. You can't do something when you're doing this. So those are the kind of things that you have to do so you can have a picture. And then up here, right here, the number of presentations, that's the key. And the number of calls you make, the number of contacts, the number of connects, the number of networking you're doing. All right, you control the activities you do. You control the activities that produce the outcome. So this is where you can write, what is a goal on these days for me to make? How many shares? In other words, we talked last week, I have to share or network or approach X number of people to get to a presentation. So how many shares, approaches, networking, am I going to walk up to somebody? Am I going to call somebody? However you do, am I going to go to a business networking meeting and network there? And with an expectation of an outcome, I'm going to have 3 appointments by the end of Monday. So 3 presentations on Tuesday, that kind of a thing. So it's not just, you're just like going to a networking meeting. Oh, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? And you walk out with nothing. That's not intentional. So this is what I mean by you control, but you only control the outcome when you pre-plan the outcome. So that's where we talked about goals, but it's more understanding ratios. So let's talk a little bit about that. And the last thing you control is your attitude. It shouldn't control you. And so if I have a 2-year-old, like when my kids were 2, and when we would try to do the temper tantrum thing, they would scream. I can't control whether they scream or not. I can say, if you need to scream, I'm going to put you in another room. So, because it hurts everyone's ears. So if you choose to scream, you're going to be separated from everyone who's playing right now. So I would just walk them to the room, and they don't want to be separated. So now all of a sudden, that what the outcome that comes with that attitude in my house is going to be separation from all the good fun stuff. So I'm not telling them they can't scream. I'm going to teach them that they don't want to scream because they want to be over here with all the other kids. So I would simply say, if you need to, or, okay, so there's that. If you want to scream, I can't tell you not to. I don't think you should. It hurts other people's ears. We're going to go over here. You're going to be separated until you can come out of the room when you don't want to scream. You choose not to scream. So that was how. The other thing is, there was another thing about parenting, but it's all the same thing, that they can control. If somebody wants my time in the business, I remember this one guy, he wanted to go to the top, and I said, okay, why should I work with you? And he was a full-time job. We had to go through the whole week. What hours is he going to work? Those hours that he's going to work, what was his expectation? What was he going to do in those hours that he's going to work? And then he had to fill out the tracking form, which is on Shield Nation. He had to fill out every single person he talked to every single day. And the minimum he could talk to on a new networking, or actually connecting with somebody and actually talking to them about the product or the business, was 3, minimum 3. The day that he did less than 3 is the day that I stopped working with him. So if he wants my time, but he says he's going to do 3, but he does 0 and then 0 and then 3 and then 0 and then 3, but he still wants my time. We talked every night. This is a 30-day commitment. And I said, I'm committed to you when you're committed to you. And when you're going to commit to the habits of the things that are in my expectation for believing that you really want to go to this next place in success, this is what it takes. So you understand? And up front, I told him, if you don't do 3 and on day 2, then I'm done for the month. And I mean that, because I know the value of my time, and I don't want to work with somebody who's telling me what they're going to do and then doesn't do it, because that's not integrity. So that you may think, geez, Darcy, that's tough. Well, maybe you need to be tougher. Maybe you need to be tougher and know what you want and know what you're worth and know where you're going in your business. And these are things that you can do. So, so those are some things I did with helping somebody. And then did he make it to the top? Absolutely. It was amazing. And the tracking sheet that he used showed me everyone that came into his business. So you can look at every single person he talked to in the entire month, and just like that, because everything was written down, everything was on a page, everything you could see. I could see it I can see it from him sending it to me. We're looking at the same sheet. We're seeing the activity. We're saying this day was 3, this day was 3. He could do 4, he could do 10. He could never go under 3. So if he did 10, fine. Next day, 3. If he did then 3, but he can never do 2. He can never do 1. 3 or more for 30 days straight. So that's what he did. And he hit the top position. He was so happy. He never hit it before. Been in the business for a long time. Needed a change of attitude and a change of habits for him to reach that. And found out, and because we tracked everything, that's the other thing. I need to see that you are tracking it. Because if you are not tracking it and you're just telling me, well, I talked to this guy and this guy, I ran into this person, that's too much airspace for me. I need data on a piece of paper. You need data on a piece of paper so you can see with your own eyes where you're successful at. So anyways, it turns out that everyone that came into his business did a 3-way call with John Hoffman. One who did not have 3-way call. So we found out for him, he was very good in getting people interested, but he wasn't able to get the commitment. And he needed the 3-way call. Because every time he had, and you can see right on his tracking form, he didn't have a 3-way. This really interested person, this one no 3-way, this one no 3-way. So his ability to what I called last week vision cast, to show the person you're talking to what it would be like for them to be successful in our business. His skill set at that moment in time was not up to the level that John's was. So he needed to hear and listen to John until maybe the next 2 months or 3 months down the road, he was doing it without John. So that's kind of an example of controlling your attitude and controlling your schedule and your activities. All right, changing now just 1 degree a day will make a difference. So you change 1 degree and pretty soon you're into the money, right? The picture shows. And how do you do that? Also on Shield Nation is the success assessment. It's called the success assessment. And people are like, well, I really don't know. If you are in the group business, the name of every company, for everybody you talk to, you talk to a person, you write the name. The result of talking to that person was you got a sale, you recruited an agent or an associate, or you enrolled a group. Those would be the things we do, right? So we either recruit somebody, we sell something, or reopen it. Those 3 things. But where did my sales and recruits come from? This is where you're getting into how to be more successful. So it says, did it come from warm market, referrals? Where did it come from? You need to know that. So here's Joe Smith. I got a sale from Joe Smith. And this Joe Smith was my warm market. And here's Jim Brown. And Jim Brown was a company owner, and the group is open with Jim Brown, ABC company. And it was referred. So this is a referral from somebody in BNI. And the network was referred to him. So you start going through all this, right? Your entire year. So I'm just going to show you because, in case you don't believe that this actually happens. Let me show you, I consulted with a company at $1 billion in finance. And here is what I made them do. Here's the assessment. All right, I copied, I covered the company and everything, but the source, where did my production come from? What activity created my production? That is me out there with billion-dollar companies doing the same thing I'm talking to you. So I don't care if you want to make 50,000 a year or you want to make $1 billion a year. Everything is the same in business. You need to know, where did your production come from? So now if you see here at the bottom, it says company averages. All right, so for bank referrals, this is the finance company, and what they do is they get referrals from banks, because the banks can't even write the loans for the kind of loans that they do. So here's bank referral, and 32% company average. Now, if I look up here, these lines here are different branches, okay? I'm showing you 3 branches just to make it simple. This particular branch did 3 bank referrals and has a 7% of their business is coming from bank referrals. But the company average is 32%. So something's wrong there, right? This person can be coached on how to get bank referrals. But if I go up here, here's somebody who's 40% of their business comes from bank referrals. So who's going to be training this guy? The one that's at 7%. but 32%, you can see the yellow and all the different sources. Where does this company get their production from? And I can see 32%, 11%, 17%, and 20%. So now I go, oh, okay. So the next question is, if banks are the number one, how do we increase success with banks? How do we widen our success with banks? We get more banks and more referrals per bank. So this is you. Let's say you're going out there and you're recruiting. Okay, let's say you're doing small business sales and you're doing that with electric companies. And it seems like every electric company is like, loves it. Not only do you get the small business sale, but then you get the employee, the owners, you get the membership, and then you get the group because they have 10 employees. So you've got, and then sometimes the entrepreneur is like, yeah, part of your business. I know a ton of electric companies and HVACs and all that kind of stuff. I could be sending you leads, great, and adding another income stream. So there's a chance we've got a small business sale and a group and all the membership sales and an associate all in a small business. Okay. So let's say that's where you find that you're really comfortable and you're having success. So then the next question is, how do I go wider, deeper, recruit more people in that area because I'm good at that area? That's the kind of things that you have to figure out. And that's why a success assessment does that. Now over here, it's the method. What activity created my production? And there's a one-on-one presentation here. Well, 45% of the company does the one-on-one, which is number one in all of, when we were regional manager of, I think, 12, 14 states, the number one success was always a one-on-one for all of the top people in all of, outside of Shield Nation. I did the same type of survey to find out where they're the biggest bang for the buck of you spending time, and it's the one-on-one for this company as well. And you'll notice here, there's a 25%. Somebody up here is only getting 25%. If I lowered this, 25% from one-on-ones, and they're getting 65% from visiting banks and distributors. So you're like, whoa, what is that? What are you doing? So this person, instead of going one-on-one, he's going to banks. And he's got a system, or she's got a system that is creating all kinds of referrals and writing loans for this company because he knows how to work the bank. So this is the guy you have on the phone, or this one right here, teaching everybody else in the company how to do it. This person over here, what is he doing on his one-on-one presentations? Because over here, he got 43 actual sales from his presentations. This person got 13. So there's a lot to learn by all of these numbers. So I hope you're understanding why I'm having you do your own. So there's an example, just in case you're like, oh, that's a waste of my time. Well, that's not a waste of a time for $1 billion company. So how about you not waste your time and look at this for real as a habit. Every year, at the end of the year, you assess the previous year. You go through the entire year of 2020, every recruit, every small business sale, every group you opened, every individual sale that you had, and you start to ask her, where did they come from? What did I do to win that business? Okay, so that's your assignment for 2023. And then law of the harvest says you reap what you sow. So that's why we're gonna do all that. You can't change principles, because principles are, the more you do something, the better you get at it. That's principle. So if you're not doing something, you can change the habit to do it more to get better. So you can change the habit, the principle that seed, time, and harvest has to happen in order you have to plant the seed if you want the harvest. There's just no way around it. It's a principle, it's not going to change. So we have to change. If you don't like your fruit, okay, maybe you have debt, maybe you have lack of production, maybe you have lack of momentum, maybe people are not they're getting excited, but they're not staying in the business. Whatever that is that you have into your life, you got to figure out how to change what you're planting so that you can have a fruitful outcome at the end of 2024. So whatever you put in, and a lot of it, let me just tell you this part, since we're doing attitudes as well, is what you speak about you, what you speak about other people on your team, you speak about your potential success. Those are a thought spoken is a seed into your future. So every time you have a thought that you speak it out loud, that is like released, And that becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy of which, oh, I never get anybody interested. Nobody ever stays in my business. Everybody I talk to says, no, I just can't find anybody interested. I'm terrible at this. Nobody ever shows up. Those are the words out of your mouth. Guess what? That is going to be exactly what you get. So you just said it. So those are that's another thing, what the power of the tone. So this goes back to the pivot point. You have to manage your priorities, your time, your emotions, your decisions, your actions at each pivot point. So when you have that pivot point and your mouth wants to open and say something like, you stop it. And you say, I am going to succeed. You start to change what comes out of your mouth. You start to change the habits and the actions you take. And it is daily pivot point. If you miss a few times, what you do when you say something out of your mouth that shouldn't be spoken out of your mouth, you say, that's not me. Don't even give place to it. That's not me. I always speak potential. I always speak, what can happen. I always speak belief. I walk by faith. So when you say something negative about yourself or others, then you can also not give place to that. I don't know who that is. That's not me, because I'm a person of action. I'm a person of positive speaking, and then you just declare it until it is you. All right. Oops. Right now, right here. All right. So we got the success habits. This is the final thing, decision management. Here's short-term thinkers are living on impulse, feelings, and emotions. And that's where I said you got to control your emotions. Long-term thinkers, reason, logic, and consequence. Consequence meaning, what is your outcome? If I don't do the numbers I said I was going to do, that one guy that I was working with, if he doesn't do 3 new people a day, 3 brand new connections a day, his consequence was no more coaching. No more coaching so he knew, he was thinking 30-day long term. He's got to do it 30 days. Everybody can do anything for 30 days. And so no matter what his impulses were to not complete that activity level that was necessary for him to get the 3 people per day on his tracking form and have, some real type of interaction. It's not like, hey, you wave to somebody and that's considered a person. You didn't even talk to them about the business or the product, so that doesn't count. So I'm talking the real thing. But long-term, short-term, easy. Okay, so short-term, it's easy to watch Netflix. It's easy to lay in the couch and go out with a friend and have coffee and not pick up the phone, not talk to anybody. It's super easy. But long-term, super hungry. Your income doesn't go up. You're frustrated with yourself. Your marriage maybe is rocky because you promised one thing and did another thing. You don't even believe in yourself anymore. It's hard. That is hard. So why not do short-term hard? Because when you do short-term hard, that means you make the right choices. You're a little harder because you're going to make those activities. You're going to do those habits that maybe you don't want to do. It doesn't matter. Impulse, feelings, emotion, I don't really care. I don't really care what you're thinking. I don't really care what you're feeling. I am committed to the future. I am committed to the long term. So it's going to be short-term hard, but in the long term, like John and I, we can get in a plane and fly to our Destin condo. We're going to go out to Colorado skiing in our Colorado Breckenridge condo. So it's kind of easy. We can do it and we can get there. But we did the short-term hard for a lot of years. Okay, we made those decisions. So take a picture of that slide and ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I operating by impulse, feelings, emotions, or reason? Am I long-term thinker? This is a new habit you got to work for in 2024. Now, here's what I need you to understand. Commit to the habits, not the results. We talked about that last week. Here's the results. And when you first start right here in this little corner, you're not going to have great success. So you're linear, but if you keep doing it, no matter what, don't look left, don't look right. I'm going to talk to this many people. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. This is my habit. I'm committed to the habit. You're not going to see anything right here. Boring, not much. That's right there. That little pink area is called the Valley of Disappointment. But you don't care because you live by reason, logic, consequence, long term, not by impulse, feelings, emotions. So you are going to ignore that disappointment feeling. And you're going to commit to the habit, and then comes, boom, breakthrough. This is how it works. So here's the breakthrough. Not because of anything, but you just were consistent with the habit, with the growth, looking at your success assessment, determining what am I best at? What am I weak at? Who is better at me in this area? How can I learn to be better in that area? So I can take all of my numbers, my ratios up. So one more slide I want to show you. All right, so I just want to show you a little bit about this, not that one, this one. All right, so here's how to earn $1 million in 10 years as a senior director. All right, senior director, and this is 20 sales a month, just one person, you on your team, nobody else, that's it. So this is totally unrealistic because everybody's gonna have a team, so it's gonna be more than this. But let's say it's just you. Let's say you one person, you don't have a team, you're not into that, you by yourself. And you went and committed just to all the habits, all the training, changed your mind, all the things we just talked about today, and you did 20 per month. All right, you would make that commission, but you would also get that in PC bonuses and a trip. So really, you're making that. All right. Did you really make 71,000? So I want you to think for a second, somebody who's making, oh, let's say 50,000, 60,000 in a job, working 40 to 60 hours a week, if they're back and call over, no freedom, no free vacation right here. And let's say they're making 65. So is it equal? Is our business equal to a $65,000 job somewhere else? And the answer is absolutely not, because you have deductions in this business, and I'm going to work on something that teaches you that. But they have a W-2, no deductions. You take 65,000 times your tax bracket, throw it away, out it goes, gone. Whereas you can't write off your car, you can't, your gas, your travel, your phone, your cell, all that kind of, there are so many write-offs in a small business that you're doing anyhow if you have a W-2 job. But in Legal Shield, if you have a company, you can now transfer something that's non-deductible over to a deductible, and you're actually paying a lot less taxes. So 65,000 W-2, 65,000 Legal Shield, you're paying a lot less taxes. So you're making a way more money. Then you add on the bonuses and the trip. But that's just the beginning. Because what you really make, I want you to look down here, is 65 your first year. That year's income and sales, you're now going to make second year 13,000 in residual. Third year through the 10th year, you're going to make the 10% residual, which adds up to that for those years. So your total income for that first year of 65 is actually 130. It's actually 130,000 without the bonuses, without the PC trips. If you just did 20 sales a day, 20 sales a month. And this is a combo sale. So, I mean, you can turn it and you can play around. These commission calculators will be up on Shield Nation as well. So you can play around with them. All right. So now I want to say to you, if you worked and were consistent and you worked on these habits and you went from senior director to executive director, what is the difference in by you being a senior director versus an executive director? Over 10 years, you lose $250,000 right there. You lose $250,000 because you have not positioned yourself at the highest pay level, executive director. So I'm showing you this because it's all about ratios. If you do one a day, that's your ratio. So that's going to be your outcome is going to be based on one a day. If you get better, then you do 2 a day, that's more activity. But what if you get 4 a day? You have a 50% of the people you talk to are interested. So then it's about not only your activity, but how good you are at the activity. So you're looking at activities first and then increasing your ratio. So instead of getting 1 out of 10, you're getting 2 out of 10. That means you doubled. You doubled your business, you doubled your bottom line because you just improved in how you speak and how you and you trained yourself and you assessed yourself and you did a success assessment to find out, wow, I had no idea this was my number one method and this was my number one channel of finding new people to grow my business. So this is a chart just to show you can play around with and how much you're really making. So that $65,000 person that wants to keep their W-2 is losing 130,000 when you add residual if the customers all stayed, for the 10 years, that kind of thing. But it is way more than 65. This is the advanced income. Okay, that's good. That isn't. You go from good to great if you understand retention is your pension. All right. So just wanted to show you that to give you kind of the whole purpose of why I'm wanting to dig into you. I want you to dig into yourself with your team, with your workout partners, ask the tough questions, look in the mirror. Don't feel bad about this. This is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. Do the success assessment, which we'll have up on the website tomorrow when Trish comes in, and then you can change your stars. I'm going to undo the share and see if there's any questions. All right. Back to you, Jane.
Wow. I can't write fast enough, Darcy. You talk fast and it's so good. I'm still back where you said you only control the outcome when you plan the outcome, which is so huge. It's so simple, and yet it's one of those things that's simple to do and simple not to do. So I'm waiting for people to raise hands to see if there are any questions. There must be. And did you explain the calculator is on Shield Nation website, right?
Yeah, there's we are putting 3 on. Let me just so you see this. Do you see this again? What do you see?
Mm-hmm.
You see? Okay,
yeah, I
so
see the
there is calculators have 3. They have the commission calculator where you can put in ISO 20 of the. Okay, so here's the 20. I was using an example. If you put in 20, it tells you how much premium dollars you have, tells you how much you'd make at all of these pay levels. So here's an elite that makes 3,400 for selling 20, and here's an associate that makes 646. And if you're here training an associate, you're making the difference, the differential. So this you can use to just kind of see, and then there's the one I just showed you, the residual will also be up there as how to earn $1 million in 10 years, because people don't understand the residual. And I'm just like, so I put this together so that people can see that your work today pays you for the future if you do it right. So learning to have referrals, which going back to that one spreadsheet, one guy, I remember on this, got 0 referrals, wherever the referrals was. Where did my production come from? But zero referrals. Anyways, so there is so much data on this sheet when I went over this with the company, and you will find that out with yourself. So it's worth your time. I'm just helping you to see that. But yes, all these will be on there. And then there's another one, kind of this is a snapshot of one. It's just kind of, doesn't include all the bonuses and stuff, but it just kind of tells you director, senior director, executive director, what's the difference in the commissions and the annual income. And you can change that. So it says 24 right there. So let's say if you change to 10. All right. So in 10, if I was here, I'd make that there. Right. So then you start saying to yourself, wow, you're almost losing $32,000 right there a year being director instead of an exec. So all 3 of these will be on. So yes.
Great. So people go on, you can go on and play with it, take a look at the plans that when you know what plans you sell the most of, go on and see what that comes out to. I think it's phenomenal what you guys are doing. Anybody have questions? I see Patrick Powell's got his hand up. Patrick, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Hoffman. Great training these past 2 weeks. Just a question here. I noticed on one of the charts you had bank referral and bank or distributors. Is that when you get leads or people referred from the bank? Is that what it's referring to?
This was a finance company that I consulted through and helped them to take their sales higher. So we're talking about this here, the bank referrals. This has nothing to do with Legal Shield. This is another company that I went in and I did exactly what I'm asking you to do for yourself.
Okay.
Sometimes people go, oh, that's so cute, Darcy. That's such a good idea. And I'm showing you that this was a $1 billion finance company that had multiple locations all over the United States. And all of their locations were having different performances, but they couldn't tell me where they got their production from. And they couldn't tell me what activity, it was unbelievable. This is a $1 million
Okay.
company that cannot tell me when I go in, I'm trying to help them. The two most important questions: where is business coming from for you, for them? This was a finance company. This is not anything to do with liquid fuel. I wanted
Okay.
to show you that the same thing, because I'm showing you this success assessment, wherever that is, that picture of that success assessment it's going to be on Field Nation. I also am asking you to do. I did it. I have my team do it, and I'm having a company. It's a $1 billion company do it. All right, so it's very practical, very powerful, and it can change your production levels if you want to go from boom to boom. So,
Okay.
all right,
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Melvin Turner, Louisville, Kentucky. It's most of your information, is that in the, I didn't see it in the Habits of Success publication that you have, or where can you find it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, internet here to go to Shield Nation. Um, I am not doing my book. I'm doing parts of my book, but I am trying to make it so you can see this from. I'm expanding my book, I guess that you could say. So here is where you will see all of the commission calculators will be here. Here's the small business manual, for instance. If you haven't seen that, I put all the answers to the questions I put on this, the success assessments right here. So look at the success assessment right here. So this is where it's all going to be for you tomorrow. And then if you go to what's new, you'll see
Okay.
you'll see all of the materials we write underneath week 2. See week 2, and then you'll see all the little materials that I'm talking to you about. But you can also go to the success assessment right there and get it. Here it is. And then you can go, it tells you how to do it. You download the assessment here and you start doing it yourself. See? All on the
Yeah,
website. Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
We have another question, hand raised, and that's Megan. I believe you're new, Megan.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I just started and I have 2 potential small businesses to sign up for the small business plan. And I was just a little confused on the users. Is that the same thing as the business groups? Because I know there's only 3 levels, or like the first level is 2 users, second level is 3 users, and then the platinum is 5 users. Are those users employees at that company that you can sign up under Legal Shield? Didn't quite understand that. And is that part of the business groups?
You have an expert on small business on the phone here, Teresa Johnson. Can you answer that question offline? So, Teresa, can you give Megan your email?
Okay.
Or how do you do that? Because that's we want to help you right away and make sure that this first of all, welcome, Megan. So
Thank
excited.
you.
And I love that you're doing small business. And Teresa on the team, she's a ring earner and a Millionaire Club member, and she's with the company a long time. And she's also heading up the new training for the small business because she's
Oh,
our
nice.
top producer in Shield Nation with small business. So, way to go, Teresa. And she's right here on the call. I don't know if you can see her picture right here. You want to say something?
Sure. Megan, I will direct message you right here in the chat my number. But
Okay.
those numbers that you see, those are just with each plan, it's who can call the law firm. So it should always be the owner plus one other person if it's 2. If it's 5, then it's the owner and 4 others can call the law firm on behalf of the business entity. So that's primarily what it needs. But I'll send you my number and you
Okay.
can reach out to me. And also I want to say, Darcy, Carlos and Sheila Bird are also certification trainers along with Katie Huff. So we've got
Okay.
solid representation here.
While we're on that note, we're going to have a new tab across here that says recognition. And Teresa Wright Johnson's going to head up the recognition tab, and you will be able to see who is on everything. we have so much talent and so much, just like I was showing you on that company that does $1 billion in finance loans, they have super great talent in certain areas. And that's who you want to talk to for the area that you're growing. And so Megan needs to talk to Teresa, right? And maybe we end up starting I'm very, very focused on small business, y'all. I want to own small business nationwide in Canada. And so, and the reason is because if you looked in a room of 400 people and you had everybody that was an executive director stand up, Nick Serba did this. And let's say 100 people stood up that were executive directors. And then you said, if you were formerly a small business owner, stay standing. And about 75% of executive directors used to be small business owners. So I was like, what? So I was a small business owner. So and I've done phenomenal with this company. And so what I'm teaching you through all these webinars is how to think, not like a W-2 employee, but like a small business owner. And so there's a lot of people that are already small business owners that are they get that. They get, how they already in their minds know their habits. They have to do this, whether they like it or not. And they know if they do that, then they're going to get this outcome. And this is how the business works. And they're very disciplined to do the things necessary. Like the cook has to cook, whether he feels like it or not. He owns a restaurant, right? So those kind of things. And it means you have a little bit more experience in understanding emotional control and all those kind of things, so that they are already seasoned, who have gone through all of these things you see, like that I'm talking to you, like right here, all of this whole process. For a W-2 that's never had to do things, they're kind of going through it for the first time. And that's why we have to help them get to the other side where it's awesome and amazing. And you can't even believe how much this is the greatest company in the world. And so, so small business you have so much opportunity for a group, for a sale, for an associate, et cetera, et cetera. So we are going to master that in the future. We're going to be known for being #1 in small business. Let me just prop say that. Boom. All right. Anyone else?
I don't see any more hands raised.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the call. You can always look at it because I talk fast and there's so much material that I wanted to squeeze it in and give it to you as soon as possible in 2024. So your whole year can start different with different strategies. So what our outcome. So I can't wait to hear all the stories, y'all.
Thank you so much, Darcy. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Darcy, I liked hearing that you're expanding on your book. And I do see one more hand raised. Deborah, would you like to unmute?
Yes, I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I wanted to find out if this is recorded, so where can I get the first one that I missed, and then I can look at this again also.
All right.
It's
it's right here. You go to shieldnation.com, and you go to what's new, click what's new, and here is week 1. So it'll say week 1 recording, and right below that's going to say week 2.
Okay.
So you always go to just shieldnation.com and you find everything like leadership right here. When I'm talking about Teresa Wright Johnson, you can find all these people. Like, where are you at, Teresa? Where are you? Where's Teresa?
Down. Go down a little bit more.
Okay. Do you see yourself yet?
Go down. I think one more.
Yeah. All right.
Right there.
She is.
Right there.
There's beautiful Teresa. And then Carlos and Sheila Bird, all these people we were talking about are all here. And look, you can see that Teresa is $50,000 ring. Her background is federal government. Then you can kind of get to know the team, where she lives. And then we're going to add all the other things all these great people do. So much talent. You have no idea how talented and how successful all these people are. So we're going to make sure you know. Right, Teresa?
And I put Darcy, I put the Shield Nation link right in the chat. Deborah, if you check your chat, just click on that link and you'll go to Shield Nation. Okay.
Yeah, I have Shield Nation, so I'm going to go to it so I can look more into it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darcy. We
have a great week.
God bless.
We will see you next week.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bless
Thank
you
you.
too. Happy New Year, Darcy.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, great job. Happy
We
New
love
Year.
you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I appreciate you so
Thanks.
much.
Okay, thank
Thanks.
you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good information.
Good night.
Welcome, Megan.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome,
Good
Megan.
night.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Megan.
You all have a good night.
New York, you're in New York. Okay. You got a whole new world coming at you, Megan. I'm so excited. It's nothing like the new at
Yeah.
first. It's so, but we're here with you. Everyone on this team would do anything to help you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right.
Good
Well,
night,
we'll see-
everybody.